It's Erica with an A. Welcome to my channel where I give my lighthearted reviews and unapologetic opinions about these crazy reality TV shows. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe and like. It's a free way to show me some love, and I'm telling you, your girl needs some love. All right, so this is Married at First Sight, season 14, episode 4. And boy, I'm so glad it finally is getting juicy. Okay, I'm excited. So let's get into the episode. So at first it gives you a recap of what kind of went down last episode, right? Last week. And so now it's starting off with their just now getting to bed. And so it's showing like what their conversation is like while they're about to spend the first night together. So each couple, they show a little clip it. So for example, they have Mark and Lindsay. They're chatting it up. Lindsay puts on this sexy silk pink, top and shorts. And I loved it. She looked good. She looks great without the makeup. And you could tell Mark the Shark was feeling her. I wouldn't be surprised if they consummate the marriage because she's been talking about seeing what he looked like underneath that shirt for a while now, okay? Moving on to the next couple, Jasmina and Mike. They seem to be chatting it up at night. They seem like they had a good time. She had that head wrap on, which I don't understand on the first night, but okay, be your authentic self. I feel you, girl. Anyway, so they have a good talk. They're vibing, you can tell. And then it goes over to Katina and O. Katina, like I said, had that sexy silk blue little dress thing on for sleeping, and it was cute. And you could tell he was rubbing all over that. He was really feeling Katina. O looked good too, but he's been showing off his chest all season so far, so it really wasn't that impressive because we see it. Okay, sorry. Then it goes to O and Steve, Noi and Steve. And they, she puts on her PJs. She's worried about him not seeing her with makeup on. But let's be honest, Noi looks way better without makeup. Okay, I'm just saying. She looks way better without makeup. So she looks beautiful. I wish she would have probably purchased something a little more sexier for the first night. But hey, I'm not one to judge. I never wear pajamas. So it is what it is. All right. Now, we go to our controversial couple, okay? And they're only controversial because Alyssa's extra for no reason. But anyways, so it goes to Alyssa and Chris. And remember, Alyssa decided that she's not feeling Chris at the moment because of what his friends said about him. Okay, his friends basically said that he was kind of condescending. He could be a teacher, right? He kind of wants to educate you on things that you may not even want to hear. And so she wasn't feeling Chris for that reason, and that's why she didn't want to share the same hotel with him. So it goes to Chris saying, hey, I'm sorry if I offended you in any way. Please let me know what I did. And basically Alyssa doesn't want to talk about it that night. She says, let me get some sleep, think about it, and we can revisit this in the morning. My opinion, I felt like it was a little childish for her to do that because let's be real, how are you going to be able to sleep if someone has information about you that you're not aware of, right? Chris is going to be up all night thinking about what he did wrong, right? He even said in his confessional, he's like, I don't know, could it be my friends? Could it be my family? Like, I don't know what I did to this girl, okay? I thought the night was going great, and then she dropped a bomb on me. So poor Chris at the moment, I'm feeling. So all the couples are now awakened, and you could tell a lot of them probably went to the restroom and touched up a little bit, especially you, Katina. I could peep it. You have your eyebrows on. You ain't fooling me. But anyways, so they all wake up, and you could tell everyone's waking up pretty decent, except for poor Chris and Alyssa. Chris was just basically telling us that, hey, he was up all night, and now Alyssa has agreed to talk to him, and so they're going to chat. He said that during the night, they did have a small chat about what happened, but she didn't go into a lot of detail and basically said, she's not comfortable still staying with him. So moving on to that morning, they have another conversation, and Chris is starting to be a little more open about how he's feeling, right? He's just like, you're basically telling me that our vibe is off. And I need to know, like, can we get somewhere? Like, is it over right now? Or do you want to go on the honeymoon? Like, let me know what's going on. And basically, Alyssa was like, yes, I want to go on the honeymoon and see if we can make this work. See if this experiment works for us. And I just felt like it was not a hopeful answer that I was expecting. Like, either you're going to be in it and you say, hey, I'm going to try to, build this relationship with you, or be out, right? She gave this real, like, I'll try it. I'll see how it goes, which to me was a little effed up. But hey, that's just my opinion. All right, so it starts with each person meeting the other one's family members. So they start off with Jasmina meeting Michael's sisters, which I love his sisters. But anyways, they sit down and have a conversation. It goes really well. His sisters are so warm to her and basically like, hey, you are part of this family, girl. I'm rocking with you. And then Jasmina's like, hey, is there anything that I need to know about Mike? And they basically said, Michael is a realist, okay? So he's the type that in every situation, he kind of prepares for the worst. And so Jasmina was kind of like, this could be a red flag, right? Because I need someone positive, optimistic, and he seems like he's not that type of guy. But other than that, the conversation went pretty well. Now, Mike met Jasmina's family. And her family, it was her mom and her sisters. So when he sat down, he said that he felt a little intimidated by the mom because she was kind of asking his backstory and does he see himself as a husband and how he would be with Jasmina. And Mike basically was being very vulnerable and said, look, I didn't grow up with a father figure in the home. And I've never seen or grew up with seeing father figures and marriages working and being successful. All right. And Jasmina's mom was like, I don't know. Like, I'm a little worried about you because Jasmina has seen a successful marriage, but she's also seen a failed marriage. So I'm a little worried about you, Mike. And he reassured her that, hey, I have sisters, I have aunties. They have taught me what women want and need in a relationship, so I can provide that. Still, the mama was a little hesitant, right? She was just like, I don't know. But I thought the conversation was weird because what I remember, let me know if y'all remember, put in the comments, but what I remember is Jasmina's mom, well, her real mom wasn't there for her, right? And then her dad remarried to this woman. And what I remember is the dad moved, right? He moved to Jamaica. And this woman was her mom that raised her. So I'm thinking, where was the successful marriage that Jasmina saw? Because that doesn't sound successful to me. But I don't know. That was just my opinion. I thought that was a little strange. Let me know in the comments if y'all peeped that too. All right, moving on to the next couple, Noi and Steve. So Noi met up with Steve's mom and dad. And Noi's my favorite, but goddamn Noi, you cried too much. Okay, what are you crying about? Anyways, so she sits down with the mom and dad, and they're basically like, hey, I loved the wedding. I loved your traditional attire. I thought that was really nice. And Steve thought it was really nice as well. And then Noi just starts randomly crying. Like, oh, I'm just, it's my tradition. And I'm just like, girl, you cry at it so quickly. Like, what are you crying about? But anyways, so they were talking. It was a good conversation. You could tell that his family liked her. But the dad did drop the question that we're all wanting to know, right? The dad was like, hey, you do know my son don't have no job, right? And so Noi's like, yeah, he told me that, but I'm sure we can work through that. But the dad really wanted to reiterate that because I think the dad knows that Steve ain't getting no job. He don't want one. He wants to do the freelance thing. And hey, to each his own, but I just don't know if that's what Noi wants, right? So I thought that was funny how the dad made sure she was aware he has no job. Okay? Anyways, so then Steve meets with Noi's family. And so if you remember from the wedding, Noi has a brother. And he didn't come as her brother this time. He came as her sister. And he was looking really cute. Like when he walked up, I didn't even recognize him. I was like, who is this, right? And so he told her that he has an alter ego. I believe the name is Sarchira? I think his name was his alter ego, and I was there for it. I thought that it was cool how his family seemed really accepting of him as well. Of the brother? Did y'all peep that? Like daddy and mama was sitting there and they were like, this is my son, you know? So I thought that was really cool. Steve seemed cool about it as well. And I peeped that he respected her pronouns. You know, he was like, this is Sarchiva, and she came to the meeting. Like, I thought that was really cool how he respected the pronouns. Anyways, so the brother was kind of grilling, well, the whole family really. The mom was kind of grilling him like, look, do you want kids? Do you want to get a job anytime soon? Like, they were really grilling him, and they were basically like, yeah, you say you want kids, but I mean, you got to have a job first, right? And you could tell Steve was kind of getting a little offensive about it almost. Like, he kind of was like, chill out, you know, we're not having kids tomorrow type thing, which I thought that was interesting, you know, but their big thing was, are you going to be stable enough for Noi, right? And he really couldn't answer that very clearly. So I thought that was a little interesting. And that may be one of their issues, well, big issues, because they seem like a great couple, but that no job thing, that's a problem, okay? All right, let's go to Lindsay and Mark. Mark the shark. Lindsay met with Mark's friends, and they loved her. I mean, loved her. You could tell they were like, this is the girl for Mark. And I was shocked about that. But she did hit it off well with them. Like, she made jokes. Like, they were saying how, you know how Mark, he want to go by Mark the shark. So his friends were like, yeah, we have to let Mark know, like, MTS, you may need to, you know, get rid of that because now you're married. But Lindsay was like, no, I'll be Miss MTS. And I thought that was so cute. Also, they talked about their 50 cats at the house. Just kidding, just 5. But they talked about the 5 cats, and basically Lindsay's like, look, we're going to have to sell some of these cats. It's a little too much at the house, okay? So she made a joke like, hey, we'll have a housewarming party, and you can take home a cat, right? And his friends loved it. They were laughing. She even gave this real warm hug to his friend, which I thought was a little too close, but hey, that's my opinion. But you could tell they really liked her, and so that was refreshing to see, you know, because, you know, Lindsay's a personality, and we're going to get more into that in the episode. Anyways, Mark meets with Lindsay's dad and friend, and then a black friend. Like, Lindsay has a little sister as a friend, which I loved it, okay? But anyway, so she meets with them, and they give her this cute little souvenir box. No, not souvenir, scratch that. Survival box, my bad. A survival box for Lindsay, kind of what you need to expect in your relationship with her, which I thought was a cute idea. They had a big, like a button that said no when you press it. And so it was like, no. And they said, you know, you have to work on saying no to her because she could be kind of pushy. And so I liked that gift. They also gave her food in this survival kit. They basically said she could get really hangry. So you need to make sure you got some food available for Miss Lindsay, okay? And they kept saying sometimes you have to reel her back in. Reel her back in. They just kept saying that. And then they kept saying she may go off the deep end a lot. And you're going to have to watch out for that. And then the dad was like, you know, she has to watch her tongue. And I'm like, y'all are scaring poor Mark. Like, what are you talking about? Like, is Lindsay going to go off on him? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, maybe she's that type. She's really bubbly and friendly, but in a switch, she can go off, right? And really turn into Lindsay the shark, if you know what I mean, okay? We'll see about that, okay? Now it goes to poor Chris and Alyssa. So Chris meets up with Alyssa's her mom and her friend, right? And so they're like, so how'd the night go? right? And Chris was like, not so well, you know, it's kind of horrible, right? And so they're confused, like, tell us more, you know? And so he's basically like, Alyssa just kind of says we're not compatible and that she sees us more as friends, which I never heard Alyssa say she wanted to be friends with Chris. In fact, I don't think she wants to even be friends with him. I think that was nice. But basically he's like, hey, she's not feeling me. And the mom seemed really sad about that. Like, the mom was just like, oh my gosh, really? You know, in her confessional, she's like, you know, Chris seems like a really nice guy. You know, this kind of sucks. But at the same time, it's like, Mom, check your daughter. Your daughter is being rude to this man. Like, check her. Anyways. And then the friend was like, even shocked too. Like, she's like, well, you know, she can be a little rash. She can be a little rash. And I'm like, expand on that a little more. Like, how rash can she be? Because she's literally being so rude to this dude. And he did nothing wrong to her. Like, I just don't understand it. Anyways, moving on. So poor Chris, he meets up with the mom and the friend, but he still gets nothing out of it. Even they're shocked at poor little Chris. Oh, poor baby. Anyways, so Alyssa meets with Chris's mom, friend, and I believe it was his sister, right? And so Alyssa's approach to the meeting was a little different. She wanted to have the meeting and not really discuss any issues that her and Chris were having. And hey, I understand the privacy, but I mean, you literally didn't even sleep in that same room. Like, that needs to be a conversation, but whatever, Alyssa. But anyway, so the mom, she's so cute. She's like, so I bet you have tons of questions for us. And then Alyssa kind of awkwardly looks at her like, not really, because I don't really want to get to know him at all. But anyways, so the mom just kind of starts talking, you know, get her more comfortable. And then Alyssa's basically doesn't talk, right? And doesn't bring up the night before. In fact, the friend, he has another friend that's talking with Alyssa and the mom. And his friend was like, look, you know, Chris is a great guy. But he is, you know, he was married to his work before you, right? He is a real estate agent. He's always on the phone doing business. So we don't really get to see Chris a lot, but he is a good guy. And for some reason, Alyssa thought that meant she would come second in their marriage over working. And I'm like, Alyssa. Chris was single. So single Chris was into his job because he had nothing else to do. He has no kids. He has no wife. So yes, he was married to his job. But now when you come into his life, he will alter the way he was living, right? That's what people do. Not Alyssa. Alyssa, red flag. She said, oh, I will not come second to his job. And that just added another thing on her list that she found wrong with this poor man named Chris. Okay. Now going on to O and Katina. Okay, so O meets up with Katina's friends, right? And I loved her friends from the wedding, but she also has a guy friend there as well. So, you know, the women, her girlfriends were being really nice and open to O, right? But you know how dudes can peep out other shady dudes. Like, he peeped out that O was a little, is he here for the right reasons, right? And so his friend was her friend, Katina's friend, was like, look, are you here because you really think this experience is going to benefit your life and you're going to stay married to Katina, or you're here for clout, right? Are you here for alternative reasons? And O's like, no, I ain't here for no alternative reasons. I'm here to find my woman, da-da-da-da. And so the friend pushed on again, right? He's like, okay, that sounds great and everything, but I call bullshit a little bit, right? His friend in his confessional was like, this man is giving me bullshit ass answers, right? He's giving me generic answers. He's not getting down to the real. And so I really appreciate that friend because O is giving me the same thing. Like, he knows the right things to say, but I don't know if they're genuine. And I think that her guy friend peeped that, and she let it be known, right? And so O was like, chill, bro. At the end of the day, if you ever need to check me on what I'm doing, check me, bro, because I am the real deal. And so it moved on to Katina. So Katina sat down with O's second mom, which I'm still kind of confused about that dynamic. Like, who's this woman? Like, what do you mean second mom? Where's your mama? But anyways, so his second mom, and they sat down and chatted. And it was a good conversation. The mom was so cute. She had a bag, and she was like, hey, Katina, I want you to have this because I'm passing the torch to you, basically. And so she opened it, and it was this cute shirt. It was a shirt that his mom used to wear for his football games because she's his #1 cheerleader. And that's typically how boy moms are, right? They're the #1 cheerleader in the fan box, okay? So she hands her over the present. Katina's like, oh, this is so cute. Yes, I'm going to take the torch, and I will be his #1 fan, and I appreciate it. The mom was kind of in a rush because she said, like, here's the gift. Let me eat real quick because I have to go to work. So I think the conversation was pretty short. But the mom reassured Katina that O was serious about this process. I don't know if I believe that, but that's just my opinion, okay? I'm just giving my opinions here, okay? All right, moving on. So after the couples meet up with their parents, now it's kind of time for them to debrief and talk to each other about what each parent or friend said, right? What did they talk about? So they go over that. Noi and Steve had a pretty interesting conversation afterwards. So Noi flat out said it, like, Steve, we brought up you not having a job. Like, do you see yourself getting a job pretty soon? A full-time gig? And he basically was like, maybe. Like he said, let's talk about it later. When and if, this is what he said now. He said, when and if I decide to get a full-time job. So if you decide to get a full-time job, so that means you may not ever get one. I was like, come on, Steve, come on. You're gonna have a wife, you wanna have kids, like, come on, bring some income in. But anyways, so Noi was a little concerned, and you could tell that was a red flag for her because she's like, he doesn't even want to discuss it. Like, what's going on with this dude? So I thought that conversation was interesting. Another one was with O and Katina. So after they had their little debriefing conversation, basically Katina's like, oh, how did you feel about my friends? Like, did they grill you? And he's like, yo, girlfriends was cool, but that guy friend, I ain't feeling him, and he ain't feeling me, and it is what it is. He basically was like, hey, if he don't like me, I don't like him, type of thing. And it's like, well, wait now, these are Katina's friends, right? You have to grow to build a connection with these people because these people are going to be in her life. And she already expressed to us in her confessional that, hey, her guy friend is a protector. Whatever he says and his opinions do matter to her. So, better tread lightly, okay? Because he may be, in for some trouble if you mess with Katina, because her guy friend looked like he wasn't playing around. You know what I mean? But anyways. All right. So, finally, the couples all get their baskets about their honeymoon, right? In the basket, it gives you cute little shirts and hats with Mr. and Mrs., but then it also tells you where you're going for your honeymoon. Now, someone in the clips, in the little previews, already told us where they were going, which I was like, guys, edit that out. Make it be a surprise. But anyways, they're going to Puerto Rico. And I'm lit about it. I love Puerto Rico, and I think they're gonna have a good ass time. I'm so glad Lifetime ain't being cheap like they were last season. I think they went to like Key West, and they stayed in this old bummy ass hotel. I'm with Mirla on that one. That hotel was bummy. But anyways, so they're going to Puerto Rico, and I'm so lit for them. I think it's going to be a good time, okay? Now, before they go to Puerto Rico, the couples are packing and getting ready. Each couple was pretty much doing the same thing. They were showing off their swimsuits and that kind of thing, except for Miss Alyssa and poor Chris. So Alyssa and Chris were having a conversation, and he's like, hey, you know, how's the honey? Are you excited for the honeymoon? And like, do you think we're going to do some cool stuff? Like, he's like, I'm so excited to, you know, hit some adventures, probably go on, you know, some fun excursions, that kind of thing. And she's like, oh, well, no adventures. I mean, this is a vacation. And I'm like, what? People go on excursions and adventures all the time on vacation. Like, what? Anyway, so he kind of brushed it off like, oh, okay, what would you like to do? And she's like, probably just lay on the beach. And so he's like, oh, yeah, okay, we can lay on the beach, you know? And so in her confessional, she's like, oh, he's basically like a yes man. Like anything I say I want to do, he's like, sure, yeah, let's go do it. And I'm like, girl, he's just trying. Let's just be honest. Chris is trying to find some connection with you. So that's why he's saying yes to everything you say, because he's trying to find a connection because you're not giving him nothing. Okay? Anyways, Alyssa, she just thinks a little differently than the rest of us. Okay? I'm just saying. Anyway, so the couples are leaving for the honeymoon. They actually ride together to the airport, which I thought was pretty cool. And then they get on the plane, and we're thinking everything is going pretty good. But when they land in Puerto Rico, some shit goes down. Okay? Some shit goes down. All right. So it shows them getting onto a bus, and Mark and Lindsay don't get on the bus with everybody. And so Steve's like, yeah, Mark and Lindsay didn't get on the bus. Like, what is really going on, right? And so they get on the bus, and and Katina are lit. Like, they're like, yeah, she ain't going to be talking to us like that. I don't want to even hang around with her. I don't want to see her on this trip. Like, she needs to chill out and mind her business, right? And O's like, yeah, she needs to mind her husband's business. Don't mind our business. And so I don't know if you guys were feeling this way, but I'm like, what in the hell happened? Like, what happened, right? And so O kind of breaks it down on what happened. So he's saying that what I think basically happened, I'm trying to dissect what O was saying, was that Lindsay walked over to them and was like, hey, have you ever been to Puerto Rico before? And he's like, no. And she's basically like, oh, I thought you were Puerto Rican or something. Like, maybe she thought his nationality was Puerto Rican, and so she expected him to speak Spanish. And he's like, I know a little bit of Spanish, but I'm going to speak English. And truthfully, anywhere you go, especially tropical like that, that's in the United States, you can speak English and you can get by just fine, okay? But anyway, so Lindsay thought it was her, you know, her for some reason she thought it was her idea, or she should influence everyone else to speak Spanish on this trip. I don't know. Anyways, O got angry about that, and Katina kind of backed up her husband and was like, look, girl, mind your business. We speaking English in here. We ain't speaking Spanish. And then I guess Lindsay had some words like, hey, what, you want to fight me or something? And O kind of stepped to her like, girl, move on somewhere. That's what I'm gathering from this argument. I don't understand how this kind of conversation could escalate, especially when you don't know each other. But anyways, so O and Katina are lit, and Lindsay and Mark take their own bus to the hotel. So Mark starts speaking in the camera, and he's like, hey, you know, we had a little hiccup, but that's not going to change our, you know, plans. We're going to have a good time, da-da-da-da. And Lindsay looks like she's about to either start crying or she's been crying. So I don't know if there was liquor involved or what, but it sounds like maybe Lindsay just kind of got into other people's business when she should have just minded her own. I'm not going to lie, though, guys. I'm sorry, but Lindsay was giving me Karen tears. Did y'all kind of peep that too? Like, it was, I don't know. Then she had her confessional, and she's like, oh, was being really aggressive towards me. I was scared and that kind of thing. And I'm like, typical Karen shit. You know what I mean? But again, we don't know what really happened, right? We can only just decipher from those two stories being told, right? We don't really know. And other couples didn't really get into it either. So, but I didn't like how Lindsay was like, oh, it was aggressive to me, and his tone. I don't know. I just, it came off a little Karen Tears-ish to me. But hey, maybe something happened and we're not aware. Anyways, so the couples land, and everyone else is trying to get in a good mood, right? So Alyssa and Mark go to their hotel room, and the other couples chill downstairs, get like a pina colada, and they're kind of chatting about what just happened and that kind of thing. The couples can definitely tell that Chris and Alyssa aren't feeling each other, right? You can tell. You can tell when a couple's not in a good space. Even when you're hanging out with your girlfriends and their man, you could tell if there's some tension there, right? And so the couples could tell. And so they didn't really want to ask any questions about how their marriage is going, because they just kind of wanted to leave that alone, because they knew it was a touchy subject, which I liked. They respected that. So they all sit down except for Lindsay and Mark. So Mark walks up to the group, right? And first things first, he, lets the awkwardness out the bag. He said, hey, I apologize, for what Lindsay played in this situation. I apologize for that, and gave him a hug. And I thought that was really mature, and that's what stand-up men do. Okay? So they don't continue arguing. They get to the resolution, right? So I really liked how Mark was really mature about it, and just like, hey, sorry about that. I know my wife can be on 10, so I apologize for her actions. And then was like, hey, I apologize too. And so Mark was like, hey, are you looking for an apology from Lindsay, or what do you think? How can we move forward? And basically was like, I don't need an apology, bro. You apologize, and that's good enough. And I love it. I love it. That's all you have to do, right? Apologize and move forward, right? Puerto Rico is too beautiful for you to be arguing with a couple that don't matter to you. You know what I mean? Now, Katina, on the other hand, childish, right? Mark's basically like, hey, how do you feel, Katina? And she's like, I don't care. I just don't want to be around her. I don't like her personality. It just doesn't fit well with me. And it was just like, Katina, was this argument, did it even have to do anything with you? Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, what does it have to do with you, Katina? Like, why are you so upset? Like, it just was a little childish to me. I felt like she could have just, kept it simple. Like, hey, it is what it is. We felt, we had a bad situation happen, but now I'm good, right? But no, she had to be childish about it and keep it going. I swear Katina thinks she's on, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, girl, you don't know this girl. You don't got to beef with her. Anyways. Okay. So then it goes back to the couples. They go back to the room and have some one-on-one time. They show Steve and Noi. They're chilling in the room. Noi is definitely scared of heights, so she was not feeling the balcony. And Steve's like, look down. And she's like, I'm good. She's still trying to keep it positive, but she's like, look, I'm scared. All right. And so they talk about what they plan to do on the trip and what they're excited to do. And Steve did not get the hint that Noi is scared of heights, right? So he starts mentioning everything that you do for fun when it deals with heights, right? So he's like, oh, I want to go parachuting. I want to go zip lining, like all this stuff that has to do with the height. And Noi's like, I'm not trying to die on this trip, but I am trying to be fun, right? So she's just kind of laughing it off, but in her head, she's like, I ain't doing none of that. Steve. Okay? But you have fun with that. But you can still tell that the chemistry's there. So I think they're going to work out. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Jasmine and Mike. Jasmina and Mike. They have this weird conversation, guys. I want you to put it in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. Like, the argument / conversation was so strange to me. I don't really know what happened there. Anyway, so this is what I think happened. So Jasmina and Mike are talking pretty much about the situation between Lindsay and O, right? And Mike was like, I expected some kind of confrontation or situation to occur because, we're new people meeting each other. And then Jasmine was like, really? You thought there was going to be confrontation? Like, we don't know each other. Why would you expect there to be issues between the couples? Like, we don't know each other. And she said in her confessional, like, hey, this is the stuff his sisters were talking about. They were saying that he always looks for the worst in things, and always finds the worst. And so she's worried about that. Like, that's a red flag for her. But I can kind of see both sides, because if you've watched this show before, you know that lately in these seasons, couples have had kind of issues sometimes. So maybe that's what he was thinking. He's like, look, I know I'm on a reality TV show. There may be conflict between the couples. I hope it's not, but there may be conflict. That's kind of what I thought he was saying. But then Jasmine is saying, like, basically he's not optimistic and he's negative. So she was kind of getting upset about that and kind of walked away and said, hey, we're going to agree to disagree. Mike does his confessional and he's like, this is a red flag for me. And I'm like, red flag? Y'all didn't even have an argument. Like, this was just a disagreement of opinions and y'all walked away. No one's voices were raised. Like, to me, it was a great conversation. I don't know. Maybe I'm married and I know what a heated conversation looks like. And obviously Mike does not, because that was not heated at all. That was a regular conversation that, in my opinion, went really well. That's what you're supposed to do if you have a disagreement about something, right? But anyways, so going to Mike and Lindsay. So Mike sits down with Lindsay, talks about, how he went downstairs, had a great conversation with O. He squashed any kind of beef there could have been, and everyone's good. And Lindsay was like, hey, I feel really protected by you. I appreciate you having my back and all that kind of thing. But Mark had to remind her, though, hey, I got your back, but you need to stop provoking people. Okay, like, I got your back. I'm your husband, but you got to stop provoking people and mind your own damn business. That's basically what he told her in the nicest way possible. And she receives that. And so I think they'll do great because Mark is an honest guy. And so I think that she will receive that because he's going to keep it real with her. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. I had to get a little vape in. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to Chris. Poor Chris and ALYSSA. Okay. So they get to the honeymoon. I can tell from watching that Chris is irritated, right? He's thinking, like, he sees all these couples, they're smiling, they're enjoying each other, and he's looking back at ALYSSA like, this girl, I mean, she brushed by me in the airport, didn't even speak to me. Now we get here, she's barely talking to me. Like, what is up? Like, what can I do in this situation? Like, I'm about to give up type thing. So he has a conversation with ALYSSA and like, look, so what's it gonna be? Like, do you want Puerto Rico to look like? Like, what do you want to do? And she again tells him that she does not feel comfortable sleeping in the room with him. Hold on, because this shit. I really need a drink, but this is what I'm gonna do. ALYSSA, what did you think you signed up for? This is Married at First Sight. You knew you were going to have to sleep in the bed or sleep in the apartment or something with another person. And you're saying you don't feel comfortable still. Like, what is Chris doing to you? Like, did he touch you wrong? Because what we saw, we didn't see any touching inappropriate. We didn't see him say anything that was vulgar or awkward. Nothing like that. But anyways, so she said she doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. And he's like, look, you have not put any effort in this whole time. Like, Chris is starting to get angry and he's starting to, look like, fuck it. I have nothing to lose. Let me just say what I want to say. He's like, you have not been committed to this thing. You find an issue with everything and you are not being a wife. Okay. Like, we signed up for this. You're not showing that you're into it. You're not putting your best foot forward. And ALYSSA's like, no, what? am putting my best foot forward. I am trying to, do this with you, but we have nothing in common. I mean, nothing. No hobbies, nothing, okay? I'm miserable. You're probably miserable too. And he's just probably like, damn, I'm not miserable, or, like, you fine. Like, damn, that's how you feel, So he's just like, dude, you're lying. Like, she's like, you're calling me a liar? He's like, yeah. You're not putting any effort into this. Like, you're not trying at all. So she does this storm off thing, like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you on camera. You're calling me a liar. And he's just like, girl, come on, you're lying, okay? Now, it moves real quickly to Katina and O. And O's just kind of talking about laying in the bed with Katina, and they're talking. And he's like, yeah, I'm ready for you to, put your walls down and really have, be vulnerable with me. And then Katina's like, what? You think my walls are up? He's like, yeah, you're not showing me all of you, And I mean, it's only like day 3. So I don't blame her for having walls up, And so I think she will have her walls down soon if O stays consistent. But truthfully, he's the one building those walls up, because he keeps saying he used to be a player. I mean, every 5 seconds that he's on screen, he mentions being a player, using women, doing dirty to women, And so what does he expect Katina to think? Like, she's going to be worrisome about the whole situation because you're setting it up like that. Like, stop doing that, okay? Anyways, so they go back to Chris and Alyssa, and Alyssa and Chris sit down, and he's like, look, I need to know if you're in this or not, like, what is up, and Alyssa still's just like, oh, I mean, let's just see how it goes. Let's see just how it goes. I'm gonna stay in my room. You can stay in here type thing. And Chris was like, look, I'm gonna get my own room and decide, shoot, if I even want to be here. And I'm like, thank you, Chris. Thank you. Because Alyssa said that Chris was disrespecting her by calling her a liar. I'm like, disrespecting you? How? This man has been so kind to you. He literally put the ball in your court. You can do whatever you want to do, and he will follow. He literally has been doing that the whole time. And you're saying he's disrespecting you by calling you out on your bullshit? Okay, that's all he was doing. And I'm proud of him. Proud of him. Because at some point you have to respect yourself. All right? You have to respect yourself. And if someone doesn't want you and showing that they don't want you, you need to walk away. Right? And so I was very proud of Chris. He's like, man, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm getting my own room, and I'm going to enjoy Puerto Rico. And I love that. I love Chris. He has a good heart. He may be a teacher or condescending, but he's single. He's not in a relationship. So I think he's going to grow into the man Alyssa wants if she gives him the chance. Anyway, so that was the end of the episode. I think this season is gonna be juicy, okay? I'm loving it. Like, they're giving us a lot of different stuff already. It's only episode 4, so I'm excited, guys. So I will be back next week for episode 5 from the commercial that they showed. I think it's gonna be really good. So come back next week. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm also going to be doing my videos on keto. I have been behind on my keto journey and posting. Basically because this last week I haven't lost a lot of weight. So I've been a little down about it. But I'm back on track. The weight's starting to come off more and more. So I'll give you an update. It's getting close to the end of January. And so I'll give you my update for my 1 month of keto and give you my highs and lows for that month. So be sure to check out my videos down below. It was so much fun talking to you guys today. Leave some comments below and let's chat. And have a good night, guys.